Hydrovac brakes are not too common anymore, but many parts of the system are still relevant. At the very least, they were a milepost along the road to brake system development. I feel the need to take a philosophical sidebar. Having a general theory of operation in mind is a critical step in troubleshooting any system. If I can pull this off, you'll go away with enough understanding to at least make an educated guess as to what the problem is before you start taking anything apart. Without this foundation, you might end up flailing away, disassembling things that don't need to be disassembled, and replacing parts that don't need replacement. Now that I have that out of my system, on to the meat of the matter. You're looking at the so-called Hydrovac brake system on a 1967 Ford F600 farm truck. Nothing fancy here, no electronics. The pictorial is drawn with the engine idling and the brake pedal released. The pressure on both sides of the check valve are equal, so the check valve is seated by gravity. As the brake pedal is depressed, fluid pressure builds in the line from the master cylinder. This increased pressure is instantaneously felt at the switching valve located in front of the brake booster chamber underneath the booster cylinder. These components are on the driver's side, inside the frame, under the door. The switching valve normally ports engine manifold vacuum to both sides of the booster diaphragm. But when it senses hydraulic pressure from the master cylinder, it switches and ports atmospheric pressure to the left side of the diaphragm. The result of this higher pressure on the left side of the diaphragm and the lower engine manifold vacuum on the right side causes the diaphragm to distort to the right, moving the piston in the booster cylinder to the right, increasing the brake fluid pressure to the front and rear brake shoes. As the brake pedal is released, pressure to the switching valve decreases, allowing it to return to its original position, and port engine manifold vacuum to both sides of the diaphragm again. This allows the return spring to move the diaphragm and piston back to their original position and releases the brakes. All of this happens in a very short time relative to how long it takes to explain it. As a parting thought, notice that there is a hydraulic path between the master cylinder and the booster cylinder, and another one between the booster cylinder and the wheel cylinders. So if you have a problem with air in the system, both of these must be bled to correct the problem. There is a bleeder bolt on top of the booster cylinder, and you might as well bleed that one first so that you don't pump air into the lines. Then bleed the wheel cylinders as you normally would. If you have fixed all the leaks and seals, then the brakes should work and the fluid level should remain constant. You're ready to stop the truck when necessary.